of the AWF. CAW Superstar, 12-time Tag Team Champion of the world. This egotistical bastard is going to be too chill for the Shawn Walsh Show, where we're not going to help out the new generation.
See, I thought this whole time that I was bringing controversy to the Shawn Walsh Show. I thought, what's 30 plus episodes now? 35, 30, I don't even know. I thought I was just bringing controversy and bringing entertaining quality, and apparently I've been given the insult of too chilled. Folks, I'll get to that in just a minute. Welcome to the Shawn Walsh Show. Special guest today, Ben Hopkins, one half of AFN, one half of the champions, former CXWI heavyweight champion, a guy who's been making some waves over in CXWI, COH, and AWF, and soon to be New Dawn, and wherever the hell else Ben goes, because he's one hell of a guy. Friend of mine, glad to have him on the show. I think you guys are going to enjoy the interview. If you are one of the, few 2%ers out there who thought that we were too chilled at CAW Con 2, you're going to really enjoy this show because, that the controversy, it goes up, man. Some people are going to really love what Ben has to say. He tells some great stories. But some people not going to be the biggest fans of his stances on particular issues. But I think he handled himself very well, and even in tough positions. So that's up to you guys to decide. Now, let's talk about what I kind of been hinting at since the beginning of the show. CAW Con 2, man. Didn't quite get the 100% positive response like the return of the Shawn Walsh Show did with Call Wrestling Sins. I'll say so. 98% positive. Okay? 98% positive. Lots of people, I read your guys' comments and all that kinds of stuff. And, very positive. We appreciate all the kind words that you guys give us. We're glad that you guys enjoyed the show. And, the more you guys enjoy the show, the more that you want it, the more that this stuff will happen. That's what dictates if there's going to be a CAW Con 3. I don't know. It's way too early to tell. Who knows what's going to be happening? Who knows when it would be happening? But we do know CAW Con 2 quite successful, and you guys enjoyed it. Mostly. There was a small 2% that did not have the best response to it. And some of that 2% was over a little some miscommunications, some different interpretations and misunderstandings, which that was talked about and that was settled and that was all good. There were a couple cases of that, but that's all good. But then there's that 1%, the 1% of the 2%, that it wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was just outlandish. And it's so outlandish that even if it's just a 1%, I have to mention it. I said I'd give a response, I'll give you a response. First, alright, let's talk about the participation trophy moment of the week. This CAW Con was very much based heavily on which are the new guys around in the call world within COH, AWF, and New Dawn, DCF, DZW, wherever. Guys that are the newer guys, or newer guys that are in higher positions that are really impressing us. Guys like a Brandon Wolf, guys like a Ben Hopkins, guys like a Ultimate Nitro, guys like that who have been just kicking ass for the last year, putting out just some great stuff that have truly brought to their characters to new heights. So of course we gave them the credit that they deserved. But some people, I guess we're used to giving second to last place participation trophies when they were younger, and they were like, well, what about me? Why didn't you mention me? Here's a nice way. Just because we didn't mention you doesn't mean that you're not doing good things. You may be doing some good things in your spot, but you're not doing maybe like the top 5 guys that are standouts. You're not in that category. And maybe you should look at what those top 5 guys that are standing out, and you should look and see what they're doing that you're not. And maybe you should take it and take your own spin on it, and you should go do something, and instead of crying and bitching and moaning and be like, oh, you should just mention me because I'm me and I'm special. Maybe you should go and be like, you know what? If there is a CAW Con 3, you damn right they're going to mention me. They're going to have no choice but to mention me. There's too many damn people on those couches that we would have just, the name slipped my head. If you didn't get mentioned, it's because you weren't a standout. If you think you are a standout, or you should be a standout, then you better go and prove it. And get the fuck over yourself. Okay, this is where I'm turning heel. Okay, guys. So, it's not all about you. Maybe you should stop listening to what your parents have been catering to you for years. That, like, you're the most important person in the world and everyone loves you, because not everybody does. This world, there's room for everybody to succeed if you put in the effort and you try and you work through it. But if you're going to go and sit there and just ride on the lower cards of the shows and put out subpar to decent work and expect to be mentioned, expect to be called one of the best, and we should just mention you because you think you're special, you need to get the fuck over yourself. I mean, for real. If we become... is what they say about our generation, right? Is that we're too damn selfish, that it's all about us. It's the me generation. Would it have been just better if we just pulled up the whole COH roster and just named everyone from Will Wild to, insert lower card guy name here? If I mention someone's name, they might get offended, and, I might, hurt the feelings. Also deadly feelings. Maybe, hell, we can't offend everyone else. We gotta include the AWF roster, the DZW roster. We gotta get the New Dawn roster in there. We gotta make sure Bowser's on there. We gotta keep him happy. We also gotta get the SMF roster. Those guys, they might not be doing shows anymore, but Ron McDonald likes to be included because he feels he's special. He's got his own damn restaurant. Shit. I really hope we do not have to come to a time where everyone is just going to be babies and butthurt and be like, why didn't I get mentioned? Maybe you should do something to get mentioned. Maybe you should do like what Ben Hopkins and Brandon Wolf have been doing, and they've been doing some great promos and great work for the last year. Hell, look at fucking GMR. He is brand new, and GMR, don't take this as an insult. It is just an unfair thing to say. I wouldn't go to say GMR is this great promo cutter, but at the very least, the guy got us talking about him in a positive way. Keep that a positive way. The guy got us talking about him in a positive way, and he got mentioned on the show. and you didn't. So either you got to do something like him to get mentioned in a positive way that we're like, hey, you know what, this guy stands out. Or you got to go and be consistent, like Hopkins, like Wolf, like Nitro, like all the other guys that are doing great things, and you got to do just that. And maybe if you do that, we'll be like, you know what, this guy fucking deserves it. But until then, I don't want to hear the bitching, I don't want to hear the moaning, I don't want to hear the crying. Fuck it. And also, hopefully I don't spend too much time on this one, because this guy doesn't really deserve too much time. I'm going to try and get through it as quickly as possible. I will not refrain from mentioning his name, however, because he put it out there. You guys know who I'm talking about, and he's clearly more than willing to take whatever backlash comes from it. Daniel Mars went on CAW Shoot, did a little live video, talked about what he thought about CAW Con, and just said some of the most outlandish things I've ever heard. You know, it wasn't like there could have been reasonable like disagreements or backlash, and his thing was we were too chilled. Apparently, the CAW Con 2 was too wanted drama, but it was too chilled. Which, what the fuck does that even mean? Too chilled? So because we're not cutting each other's throats, because we're not like getting in arguments and, you know, doing burning hammers on the show, or we're not calling out people and be like, oh, Brandon Wolf, fuck you, I want your spot. Because we're not doing that, we're too chilled. Shouldn't that be a fucking good thing? How the fuck is that an insult? What the fuck is that? I don't even understand. And then he goes and he takes shots at, you know, two friends of mine, in Adam and Cash, Christian Edwards and Adam Jackpot, for their COH Battleground commentary, saying that they don't take it seriously, and because they've done comedy, which Christian Edwards is a play-by-play commentator. I don't get that. And Adam Jackpot's a color commentator. That's kind of like what they do, acting like they don't sell the show. What they do sell the show, but they also make the show fun for the people watching and for themselves, because we don't get paid to do this. This is a hobby. This is not something that we get paid to do. You know, once we get paid to do it, and if you're the one paying us, then me or whoever else will do the damn show how you want. But until then, we're gonna have fun with it. And I haven't seen so many people all upset about it. So you need to calm down with that bullshit. You need to calm down with the hypocrisy about what's going on in COH regarding the new generation. You know, apparently you think this season hasn't been about the new generation. That the old guys have been hogging the spotlights, which is confusing because guys like Caleb Blair won the Rumble. Phoenix beat Accuracy on the same show. Brandon Wolf has been main eventing shows. The whole fucking season has been about the new guys. Yeah, there's been older guys like Accuracy, Goonie, and Nate who are still on the top, but they're opening up room for the new guys to come on in, and new guys are jumping on that. There's been so many guys that are in better spots now than they were where they were a year ago. And then you go in a minute later and they're like, oh, well, maybe the new guys need to step up. Maybe that's why the old guys have to hog the spots. You can't have it both ways. You can't be like, oh, well, the old guys are hogging the spots. Oh, well, maybe they have to because the new guys need to step up. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Unless you consider new guys to be guys like, you know, Wild KO or EW or something. I don't know what you're referring to. If you're referring to new up and coming guys like, you know, Caleb Blair, Phoenix, Wolf, Hopkins, Nitro, AJ, whoever else, you know, we're all doing great things. And in fact, your fucking self as well. In fact, we mentioned you. So, shit, man. This is the new generation. This isn't the old guys hogging the spotlight. This isn't a matter of the new guys needing to step up. This is what it is. The new guys, this is what it's about, and they're doing something. We are doing something. So don't just find any reason to complain and bitch and moan. I don't get it. I really do not. To me, it just seems like, because this is the only reasonable, rational explanation I can come up with, is that, maybe because things were too chilled, or I don't know. You're just looking for something to get people talking, and talking about you, and getting shit riled up. And, you've gotten, and if that's what you're doing, that pisses me off. If you're just being an idiot, that still pisses me off. There's a difference between stating an opinion and me disagreeing and just saying stupid, asinine things just to get people talking. You seriously need to reevaluate the shit that you said, and you need to take a step back, because you do not even know what road you're about to walk on. This is not your block. You don't know the area before you go and trying to make things and try and be something. God. And also too, he's also another one of those guys that act like the COH is the only show. There's other fucking shows out there. They never mention any other shows on that thing. Even though CAW Con was about more than COH. But what the fuck, man? Alright, guys. Gave that a little bit more time than I probably should have. But don't worry, I'm not going to give it any more time. We're going to go to the main event. What we've all been waiting for. My exciting, controversial, interesting, perhaps even too chilled interview with Ben Hopkins coming up next. It's going to be a great one, folks. It's a Hopkins thing. You wouldn't understand. Alright, guys. I am now with Ben Hopkins, one half of AFN, a former CXWI heavyweight champion. The man who's got some interesting questions. Some questions that they all don't relate, but they're all interesting questions, I think. So, Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks, thanks for having me on here. I'm very much been looking forward to being on here.
It's going to be a blast. And, I start this all the time with guys, but when and where did Ben Hopkins come from? I got my start back in 2009, so I'm old. I may not be old in actual age, but in CAW, I'm old as Ric Flair's niece. So, when did you get in CAW? What dragged you in? What happened?
It's been a lot of people think I got my first start in CXWI, which isn't actually the case. I started my first league I joined must have been I was about 13, 14 at the time. It was a place called SWF. It had a developmental program called SCW, and I was originally speaking to the bloke that run it. You can't find this stuff anymore on YouTube. His channel got taken down, and we got talking through YouTube private messaging, which shows you how old this is. And
so you're just as old as I am. I remember that stuff.
Yeah, man, takes me right back. We got talking, and he set up the development program to let guys, because he had a whole waiting list of original people who wanted to be on the show. So yeah, I've originally sent my core over to him. I was on the developmental program, and then that got shut down. And it was about a year afterwards I found out that he'd rebooted it under WWA, which stood for Wesley's Wrestling Association, which is still up on YouTube. I think the YouTube channel name's Mr. Scott A22. Hasn't uploaded anything for 2 years and finished halfway through a CPV, which was always great. But it's where I first got my start. I worked with a friend of mine who went by the name of Triple E as well. we were a tag team there. Didn't really do much, but we didn't really contribute much as well because there wasn't a group page or there wasn't anything back in the day for us to record promos. So it was just more about having my name there. And then about a year later from that ending, I joined CXWI, and that's really where people started to know who I was.
Yeah. CXWI. I remember because when you came to COH, it was like there was me and so many other people that really didn't know who you and Austin and all these other guys were. We just knew you were from CXWI. There was a group of guys over there. It's weird because we all do CAW, but it's almost like different universes.
Yeah, that's definitely how it felt. Like before I joined COH, I don't think I'd worked with near on anyone that wasn't in CXWI that was on there. So coming in first of all, I was like, well, I can't rest on my laurels. I've got to make a good impression right off the bat.
Now, when you went into CXWI, you were, the Ben Hopkins character that we know today. That's right from the beginning.
I feel like the Ben Hopkins character evolved over time with myself. I've always seen it as like an extension of myself. I'm a former drama student, and what I was always told is the best characters are normally close to yourself. But if you're working in a situation like wrestling or CAW where everything's a bit more, you've got to exaggerate what you're doing a bit more to capture people's attention. So Ben Hopkins. He started off, it was a bit of a chip on the shoulder that's grown over the years, but he's a bit more cocky, a bit more arrogant than I am myself. But the same sort of message is clear that I want to be the top guy, and that's what it first was when I came into CXWI, which was quite lucky for me because I didn't really say much when I first joined CXWI because they have their own little group where everyone was on. And I kind of stuck quiet for a few years. Well, a lot of people would come on the base and be like, I want to join right now, and immediately get kicked off because they weren't good to work with. But the guys that are on there is Austin and Phil, both in COH. There's another bloke called Scott McShannon. They're all really good to me when I started piping up. Austin actually created my original CXWI chord that's on the shows, and he still does to this day. And I joined a team with Phil near off the bat called the New Regime, and that's where I was first starting to get off the bat. I started recording promos, and when I look back, my original stuff is a far cry from what I'm doing now, so it's really good to see how far I've actually come.
It's very interesting. And interesting that you come from a drama background and you've brought that into CAW. Now, I ask, was there obviously you're the wrestling fan. Growing up was because a lot of people when they do their CAWs, they have some kind of influence in maybe their favorite or one of their favorites. Is there someone in wrestling that influenced your character, or who are some of your favorite guys that you like to maybe take some things from?
I feel like all the time that it's changing with what I watch in wrestling because there's so much, you're not going to cover everything. At the beginning, I was probably influenced by a lot of the same people that everyone else was. The Rock is, I always seem to draw comparison for him for his promo style and delivery, the very fast paced and that. As well with someone who I've always admired, someone I've always watched him being Kurt Angle. I feel like Kurt Angle sometimes doesn't get the credit he deserves on his promo side because I've always found him really entertaining. Chris Jericho's another one who always is on point with his delivery, which is just something to take note on. But as I grew up in that, as far as appearance and that goes, I'm a big fan of the British wrestling scene, and for a lot of people, they can draw the comparisons from how my core looks to how Jimmy Havoc looks with the hair all swayed to one side and the shirt with a logo on, and it's just something because he's quite a bit of an inspiration for how to change it up. Which if you've never seen the evolution of Jimmy Havoc from just the face to heel turn he done in Progress Wrestling, is something I can't recommend enough because it is really good storytelling.
All right. So you talked about obviously big fan of the British wrestling scene. So we got one of the questions sent in from Facebook from Adam Jackpot or Kenny Phoenix, as some know him in COH. I know, being a friend of his, that he's a big into the British wrestling scene as well. I like the guys that I've seen in like WCPW and come over to the Cruiserweight Classic now. So Adam wants to know, uh, who are besides Havoc, who are some of your favorite guys there? And I know some because I talked to you about it, but let's let the world
I
know.
mean, there's obviously the other ones like Marty Scurll and Zack Sabre Jr., who it's just great. I mean, it's hard to really pinpoint people that I don't like on the scene. I just like some more than others because when I was growing up, it was all just WWE, and then like TNA and ROH came later. But I always wanted us over here to have like a wrestling scene that people around the world looked at and admired. And now we've got that. It's great to see. I know the latest Battle of Los Angeles. Pete Dunne and Mark Haskins went over and they made their debuts for PWG, and people were blown away by their performances, which is great to see. Someone I don't feel like gets a lot of credit is Joseph Connors. So to see him in WCPW as their champion now, oops, spoilers. To see him as their champion, to see him as their main guy, and to see a lot of people now seeing how good he really is great. Someone that I don't think a lot of people know of that I would recommend is Zach Gibson from Liverpool. He has a nice little pre-match ritual where he says a promo, and the heat he gets from that is evolved over time. It's something to behold. He can't speak. He gets booed so loudly that the microphone can't get over it, and it's just a captivating thing to see.
That's that's amazing. I'm a big fan of guys like Noam Dar and Joe Hendry, two really good guys. Now, which promotion of over there is your favorite? Because there's a couple of promotions that are doing some big things now.
Ooh, well, my favourite promotion, it has to be Progress. When I first started working and I started getting my pay slips in, first thing I done was buy Progress on demand to see what it was all about, and I've been hooked since. Uh, it's just the fact that they run such small venues with about 700 people at a time is weird because you don't really consider 700 people to be a success. But the
Hmm.
quality of the product and the people that they're bringing through, like the guys you're seeing like on the Cruiserweight Classic, Jack Gallagher wrestles quite a lot for Progress, or did. He's now going to WWE, which is great for him. Guys like Tommy End, Mike Scurll, Zack Sabre Jr., Jimmy Havoc, they've all come through Progress at some point or another. And it's just been great to see those guys evolve and be able to tell their stories to a British audience that now cares, because we were stuck a lot of time with the really bad American wrestling tribute shows with guys that dressed up, calling themselves the Undertaker and whatnot. So the fact that we've got a scene that people like, and we've got companies like Progress, and admittedly, as I don't really like their product as much, but ICW that are getting worldwide attention, it is just great to see. Like everyone's doing great, all the companies are doing something different, which gets people hooked, and the more people that are watching, the better the talent's going to keep getting.
Absolutely. Now, this next question, believe it or not, is a legitimate question sent in. I can't make this up, and there will be some hard hitting ones later on. But let's get some of the softballs out of the way. Uh, your favorite afternoon snack?
Oh,
That's a real question. Real question.
that's a difficult one. Um, I feel like it depends on the day if I'm at work or not, but I always like we have these things. I'm not sure if you have them in America. They're like biscuits called party rings. I you got like a little bit of frosting on top, and then you got the biscuit underneath. And I haven't had them for years. And then I just was like, I really fancy some one day, and I've been hooked since. I keep buying them, which is really unhealthy. But yeah, that's my favourite afternoon snack. I can't go a day without them.
Okay, okay. It's an interesting question, but at least I've been on before. They're like, oh, who's your favorite wrestler? And we've already answered that. But so let's go to CXWI. So you're in CXWI and you're starting to get up in the ranks as a heel,
Yeah,
which those who are familiar of your work just in the last year or so with AFN, it's a face tag team, at least for now,
yeah.
and but you were a heel. You eventually became, correct me if I'm wrong, the top heel up until recently of CXWI.
That's true. At the minute, I'm currently on a break from CXWI, which was saying it was planned for a while. Uh, my character, it grew and grew, largely due to the fact that I was getting the reactions. People were booing me. There's lovely few fans that would message me saying, "Oh, I'm going to find you. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to kill your family,"
Oh wow!
which is really nice.
Legit, people were that mad at you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. CAW.
Wow.
I don't know. CAW is just real to some people, and they can't get the fact that I'm a character. But I know they're not going to do anything because they don't know where I live, and I think I could take them. I'm not the strongest guy or whatnot, but I think I can deal with a few idiots. Um, but yeah, it grew and it grew, and I mean now I'm on a break because Austin's taken over my role as the top heel. We done a kind of double turn at the last mega event because I was world champion for about 200 and something days, and when you're doing the same stuff over and over again, I just felt like my character was getting a bit stale, and it needed some time off, and it needed some other people to take that role, so that when and if I do come back, which people like keep calling for, which is really nice to see. Some people like when's Ben Hopkins coming back because it means that they actually enjoy my work. I'll have a look, and I don't know when I'm going to come back. There's so many possibilities. A lot of people keep throwing ideas at me to come back here and there. I've got a rough idea. It's going to be a long time before I do come back, but rest assured, when you come back, it's going to be a fresh take on the Ben Hopkins character. That I'm going to be doing some different things with it, which is what I do with every league.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about. All right, so you do the double turn with Austin. Austin, who for a long time was top babyface, right? Or at least one of the top guys, and now he's a heel, which is great. Something new for him to do, and he's taking the ball and running with it.
Yeah.
Now, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ben Hopkins character is dead.
That's a common misconception. It's just a joke that we put out to see how people reacted to it. It's like, oh yeah, Ben's dead. Yeah. And I got one comment from someone which was great. They found my last commented video for CXWI for I didn't comment on stuff for 2 months. And they went back to it and they replied to it and excuse me, Ben, are you dead? Which is great to see that people actually thought I'd been killed off. But no, the Ben Hopkins character, we don't know where he is, which adds a certain ever mystery. He could be at every show just watching it, or he could be isolated in his room. He could have gone full broken man playing a piano somewhere. I would love.
That'd be amazing. Because I've heard this, and I'm like, oh, I got questions like, why did he die? What I hear about Ghost Ben Hopkins, and I'm like, what is up? What's going on?
That's. I love the fact people believe that, but no, I'm not actually dead in CXWI. I'm missing in action, shall we put it.
Hey, it may sound crazy, but you know what the Hardys are doing in TNA? Crazy apparently is what makes money.
Exactly. So I'm very much up for if people want Ghost Ben instead of Human Ben, I'm all up for that.
See, no, that's interesting. We'll see where that goes. But CXWI, this is not specific really to you, but to the company, right?
Yeah.
So, in the past, CXWI has had its great moments.
Yeah.
It's also had its moments that some people didn't take.
Yeah.
It was a great response. Specifically, I got asked the sex videos. What's with some of the we'll call it adult subject matter on these shows? What's your thoughts on it? And me personally, I don't get it, but maybe you can. That.
I wish I could shed more light onto it, but I don't really get it. For me, I guess it's down to shock value. I mean, I might be a bit old-fashioned, but I like my storylines to take place in the complex of the arena that the show is. like the outside stuff, if it adds to the angle, or if it's just like the sex stuff that was going on, was really weird. I know, like the entire story of Lucario, he ended up dying of AIDS, which was just a really touchy subject to have in a CAW show. And
Yeah.
we done a tribute show for him, and I'm really gutted that this promo never reached public audience because it's my favourite promo I've ever done. Everyone that was active at the time, like done a little segment where they were like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, Lucario's done," and I got asked to do mine. Like it must have been about 2 o'clock in the morning one day, and I was a bit pissed. So, um, I was just like, "Yeah, I had a match with Lucario one time and I won. Good." And then after the show, I was like, shit, I can actually use this some good heat. So there's me, I'm holding my thumb over my camera lens on my thing, and I'm going, and the winner for pretending to give a shit about Lucario is Ben Hopkins. And I start playing Everyone Has AIDS on my phone, acting shocked. And I'm like, oh yeah, I never really cared. Why am I here? I do like that wheelchair he was in. No, that's better than his entire career. Then I play Everyone Has AIDS again and just look like a massive dickhead. I got some really good heat for that, and I know that it was like in like storyline related. Like management's really upset. They want to strip you of the title. And I was like, good, I'm doing good with this. I'm gonna keep banging on about this.
You took it and ran with it. I mean, that's taking a positive from it. I what you did was great.
Yeah,
And I know I'm just speaking for me here, and I'm speaking for other people I've talked to. Maybe there's a core demographic
yeah,
for CXWI that's appealing to, and if that is, then they're doing the right thing.
yeah,
But for people that maybe are outside the CXWI universe, it kind of, I don't know, I don't want to bash them or anything because they're doing great things,
yeah,
but it maybe is a turnoff. Like
yeah,
I remember before even that you and Austin came into COH, there was some angle, and I was showing a video. Maybe it was I don't know if it was a rape or something was going
yeah,
on, and I was just like, I'm good.
yeah. I get that from a lot of people. I see that as if that turns them turns them off of the product. If they're on the base, or if I'm writing my promos from the show, it's my job as the top guy it was to hook them back in, instead of watching that stuff and turning away. If I'm getting them to continue to watch the product, watching what I'm doing, then I'm doing my job right because they're caring more about the stuff in ring, which is what I care more about than the weird stuff that's going on outside of that. So if I can keep as many viewers as possible, if I'm the top guy, instead of going for the more extreme stuff, which is really weird because that's the most watched stuff, which freaks me out. Um, I can't explain it. It's just people love that. I don't know if it's not appealing to CAW fans, and there are people that really enjoy Pokemon sex videos out there. But yeah, people love it.
We're all unique and special in our own ways, I guess. Speaking of that, this kind of ties in with the whole unique word, but Daniel Mars from over in COH asked one question about your character. What do you think makes your character special or unique? What makes it? It's not just another character on the show that people can can get behind.
Yeah. That's a difficult one. When I first saw that, I did think about it quite a bit. For me, it's difficult specifically to say what's unique or what makes me stand out. I feel like that's defined by the people that watch me and the people that continue to come back to me, that there's something that stands out about me. I don't know if it's the way that I deliver my promos, or if it's the things I talk about, or the fact that I just casually drop swear words into my promo because I have a filthy mouth. Um, but yeah, I don't think it's down to me to say what me. It's down to the people that watch me and what comes back. Personally, I don't think there's like a clear uniqueness about my character. There isn't so much of a gimmick or like one specific character trait. I have a catchphrase and I say some of the same stuff in every promo, but there's not something that's completely different every time. So the fact that people do think I'm somewhat unique and they do keep coming back is a credit to me. But as far as what I specifically think makes me unique or that, not a lot. There's a lot of guys that could cut the same promos in the same position, but it's just about my delivery that I guess makes me stand out.
I guess so. And just, I mean, let me just say that just having a catchphrase in general, and a good catchphrase, that's unique and special in itself, because I know for me and other people, they struggle with getting a good catchphrase, and I've seen some people and some of what they use, and they're awful. So I think you got a good thing
It's
going.
actually not my. I didn't actually come up with that.
Whose idea was that?
It's a really weird story. It's actually from a Facebook advert that came up one time. There was this Facebook page run called Team Hopkins, which sold jumpers that have on "It's a Hopkins thing you wouldn't understand," and I was like, "That's a good slogan. I'm going to keep that." And I showed it to my brother, and he was like, "That's actually quite good." He got he went with this logo to. There's a place around quite close to me that does t-shirt and jumper printing, and he got it printed on a jumper for my dad for Christmas one year. So every time I see my dad walk around this "It's a Hopkins thing you wouldn't understand" jumper, I'm like, shit, I'm doing merch as well now.
Even merch. I mean, man, you're hitting all the everything.
Got to get that merch money in.
Yes, yes. Now we'll come back to some CXWI stuff a little bit later on. Let's go talk about COH. What was it? Last year, maybe two, I'm not sure if it was 2 years or a year and a half ago, or it was when you and Austin came in,
I
right?
don't think it's been that long.
That
I think it was this year.
this year.
Yeah,
Really?
I know it was this season, definitely. Um, I think my first CPV was whatever the one with the Survivor Series matches on was. I can't remember when Worlds Collide. I think it was.
Okay. I think so. That would be like last
Yeah, it was
summertime.
around that. It's not been overly long that I've been in COH.
Okay. And I mean, how did that come about? Because it was you and Austin and then a few other guys from CXWI came in. Was it just like was it a thing of like you guys like were all like, oh, we want to expand our horizons? Did Travis come to you guys? What happened there?
I know with mine, I was the third man on Austin and Austin's team of Worlds Collide, and they needed a third guy, and I was told that Travis was interested in having me being that. So we talked for a bit. I said I'm interested in coming in to be that third guy. What is it you'd want me to do? He was like, be committed, cut promos for me. I was like, yes, this sounds like what I want to do. And then I came in, and there was I think it was like Jack, Phil, and Preston or the Mist came in soon afterwards. Those were the other three, and I guess they saw what like me and Austin were doing and the reactions we were getting, and like that first promo I put on the COH page, which got quite a lot of reaction, got quite a lot of good comments, which I was blown away by the support for that, and I still am to this day, because I don't think it's one of my best promos. But they were seeing the reaction, and they thought, yeah, it's a good way to improve, because with CXWI, the promos we put on the base and the promos we record don't get put on the shows. So we're kind of doing them off our own back to try and generate interest to the 80 people that are on there. So to have more people pay interest and have it on a show, it's a good way to build character, and it's a good way to sort of improve your promos, because speaking from experience about drama and that, I was never the most confident. I would shake nervously for the better part of 5 years before I went on stage, and it was only after like a bit that I would gain confidence. By the time I finished, and like my last bit of work I ever done drama wise is up on my Facebook page. Like before that, I was pumped, I was ready, I wasn't shaking, because I had learned through 7 years of work how to like talk, how to give a good delivery. So it's just about in as much practice and as getting as much feedback as possible to make yourself as good as you can be.
All right. That's cool. I remember when you came in and you cut that promo, because I'm pretty sure I said something. I don't know what I said because that was a long time ago, and if it's before yesterday, I I can probably clue you in a little bit as to why, besides the fact that I think it was a good promo.
Yeah.
That people liked it, but why people were like, wow, this Ben Hopkins guy. A lot of it had to do with, because I don't know how it's been elsewhere for you, but in COH, a lot of times when new guys come in, because they're new guys,
Yeah.
they're not usually that good.
Yeah.
Here and there, you get some good guys. Usually, because they're new, they come in and they're not that good, but maybe they eventually become very good,
Yeah.
and that's great. But the fact that like you came in and you were like right off the bat really really good, everyone's like, all right, a new guy who's actually pretty good. All right, and that's not to knock the other newer guys from years past who came in. They weren't coming in with the background that you did. So,
Yeah.
but that would be why for that. And I remember, because this is going to tie into a question here, but so you came in. It was like when AFN came in. It was like when I was wrapping things up in the tag division.
Yeah.
I was, I had done my tag team for years with Ryan Carroll. Was doing the team with TJ Profit for a little bit, but I was moving up to a singles run.
Yeah.
But as I was moving on out, you and Austin were moving on in, which is a shame because would have loved to done that feud.
Definitely.
But but when I moved up and you guys came in, besides maybe like the elite, the tag teams weren't really flowing, in my opinion, in COH, at least at that time. What was your take when you guys came in and it was like, here's the tag division?
At first I was like, oh, is that it? Because you and TJ were like slowly going your own ways, and there was just the elite. And I was thinking, there's not a lot to work with. It's also conveniently ties in with like my most recent promo I just put on the COH page, where I said the tag team scene, because there's not a lot of quality in there, and because there's some singles guys that aren't perhaps moving up towards the Pride title, because like the mid card is pretty strong with both you and AJ holding up at the main bit with like an engrossing story, and the fact that you both deliver on your characters and that. It's quite difficult for a lot of people to get anywhere in the mid card, which is why I was happy starting in the tag team division, because the way I look at it, either being in a tag team, you're gonna not like it and not contribute anything, or my main aim with my promos is to get myself over, and in turn I get the team over, so that when AFN splits up down the line, people know who Ben Hopkins is and they know what to expect, as opposed to someone new coming in and just going straight in the mid card where there's guys that are performing to the level of like AJ Young is, where you're not going to get anywhere near them. And I said, find a mate, be a tag team, because it will give you so much experience and it will give you so much time to develop that people will know who you are. Because you can be a lower card guy trying to get near the Pride title, or you can be in a tag team and you'll be miles closer. I mean, look at Primo in WWE. When he wasn't in a tag team with Carlito or Epico, he was nowhere. He was on Superstars or Main Event. In those two teams, he's recorded 2 wins on 2 WrestleMania pre-shows, one of them to become the first unified tag team champion. So that's the example I use as how a tag team can benefit someone. And down the line, when you do eventually split up, people are going to know who you are and they're going to know what to expect. So don't look at tag team wrestling as something that is a curse, because it is as good as you can possibly get when you start.
Absolutely. So all those people listening, listen to Ben, because I've been saying this for years. Years ago, years and years ago, before I did tag teams, I was like everyone else and was like everyone has like a nasty view of being in a tag team. Like,
Yeah.
it's like some kind of downgrade. Like, I'm in a tag team. I'm like, no, it was the best decision I ever made, because it allows you to be with a team, and then you guys can like cover each other's weaknesses, and it works out. But everyone needs to get whenever you suggest people like, oh, I root team. Who are you?
Exactly.
You know, do I've seen people top of the line who have made and this main evented shows who've gone to other shows and done tag teams. If they can do that, other people can too.
Exactly. I came in as part of AFN while I was the top heel, like 200-day reign as world champion and feuding with Austin. If I can take all of that, forget it, and go to COH and do that, there's no problem with it. And like I see, each league is a chance for me to do something a little bit different, a little tweak here and there. I'm not one to run off past success because I feel like that's quite cheap. If it's part success in that company, that's fine. But the one thing when I first recorded that promo was, I don't want to be like, I deserve every title right away, because I don't, because I've been here for 5 minutes. And I also don't want to be like, I'm a world champion here and there, so why am I in the tag team? Because it means fuck all. If there's people that are better than me, regardless if they've not been in the same companies as me, they deserve to be higher up the card than me. It's just how it goes. And there's a lot of people that don't seem to get that, and they end up booking their own leagues where they win their world titles, and that doesn't sit all too well with me.
Same. It doesn't for me either. But hey, those guys who are like, no, well, in a year when they're lost in the shuffle, then
Yeah.
then they know. But for you, I mean, you and Austin, you came in, you did the tag team thing, but you have definitely had your shots over on Slam, like where you've done single stuff while still being in the tag team, and you had like a little mini feud going on with Scott Adams, and you had a COH championship match. Like and then there was that Who is Ben Hopkins thing that was.
That is one of my favourite things that's ever happened in CAW with me. I still watch it back every now and then because I really do enjoy it. Like, I didn't expect anything to happen. I got a COH title shot in my first year out of that in a highly built contested match that had its own little feud with the world champion. I didn't expect that to happen, and the fact it got that whole promo thing about who is Ben Hopkins and everyone joining in, it was great. Even I got to say something at the end, which was just great for something like that to happen.
It's just fun, and it also is cool because now, I mean, if there was like a question, I don't know if you had it, but like if there was like a question in your mind, like what am I gonna do from here? At least when the time does come for AFN to go their separate ways, at least you've had a little bit of, at least in COH, some experience doing single stuff, so it'll be an easy progression.
Yeah, and like the fact is, I still base my promos around that who is Ben Hopkins question, because now I'm one half the tag team champions. Like, who's Ben Hopkins? I'm one of your fucking champions, mate. Where have you been?
Now that you are the tag team champions with Austin, which is great. I've been pulling for that.
Yeah.
I've been every time. I remember when I was still the tag team champions, and with TJ, and I'd be like, Travis, you got to give it to AFN, and for all the people who think I have pull, you see how well that worked, and it didn't happen because you dropped it to the elite. So I was like, all right. So, but it worked because then you guys took it from them.
We got that feel-good moment at Ready to Rumble where we took the titles from the Elite. That's the same day the Elite started to crumble, which, we got the titles. I can't complain. The fact that we didn't win them from you, and the fact we had to go through so many obstacles with the Elite, I feel added to the story of AFN.
I agree. So,
it worked out in the end. I can't complain. I'm a champion.
But now that you got those belts, I don't know if you or Austin have anything in mind, or if there's like, what's the next goal?
For me personally, I can't speak for Austin, but for me personally, it's to, when AFN does split up and when AFN does go its own way, is to have the tag team division in a stronger place, so that there are people ready to take over. I don't want to leave the tag team division and it's just like wild KO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would feel bad about. No offense to wild KO, I do love all wild stuff. Um, I would feel quite bad to just abandon it because it's where I got my break. Hence why I tell people set up a tag team. It will help you. I can't say that enough, but it is what you need to do. I want to help build up. I would gladly defend the global tag team titles every slam because I feel like people want to see title matches. It's not a case of if, it's a case of when, really. But I hope we have a long run in the sense that we can help build up a lot of teams and we can help the tag team division be something that people want to watch on Slam. Because now you have people like, you've got people like Caleb Blair and Ray Geddes that people want to watch. But I also want to go, what's happening with the tag team scene? Which I feel like I'm doing, but I want it to happen more so that even when I move on to a singles run, there are still people that want to watch what we're doing there.
All right, leave it in a better place than you entered into it with. That was the same thing I was thinking. So, well, I hope it does, because I still watch it and I still love it. And I just hope it gets better. So now with the tag team, one of the things that got brought up in the COH Facebook page recently was trios championships or six-man tag team championships, however, whatever you want to call them. That every promotion calls them something different, but what is with some of the guys that are on the roster now and with the tag team division? What are your thoughts on if COH were to in the future introduce a six-man tag team title?
Uh, I, I feel like that's a bad move. With tag teams, I've always been a fan of the tag teams with a name, like matching attire, or teams that are like oddball pairings that eventually come to something like that, like Team Hell No did,
Mm-hmm.
where eventually they became a team instead of two guys. With trios title or six-man title, I feel like you'd get more of throwing people together for the sake of throwing people together instead of, because like with ROH doing them, like who are your six-man teams off the bat? You've got the Addiction and the other bloke they've got, and Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, and that's it. You're then going to start throwing random people together, and that isn't compelling for me. Like a tag team division or a six-man tag team division needs to be built around stables or teams that you know that have key identities, instead of, oh, I'm now teaming with this guy and this guy. That's it.
Okay, all right. So I agree with you on that one,
Yeah.
and which is interesting because a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah," but I don't think a lot of people looked at the roster first.
No, that's. I feel like a lot of people are like, well, technically it's one more title, so there's more chance of me winning something.
Yay me! I can win something,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I like it. I'm a big Lucha Underground guy. I love it in Lucha Underground. But Lucha Underground has a huge roster, and they don't have a tag title separate. That is their tag title. So ROH, I think, is a terrible idea to have it. But maybe they'll learn in the long run. So let's go back. Let's go back to some fan questions here. So this is an interesting one. I don't even know how you would answer this, but I'll let you do it. Do you have any conspiracy theories? Again, I can't make this stuff up, and I hate when people put "call" in words because those aren't real words. But I don't even know.
The only conspiracy I have is the fact that my face paint never wears off during matches. It's like, do I get punched or am I just really good at faking it? But apart from that, no.
That's good to look at. All right, so what are some of your this is from John Blackos. Some of your favorite memories.
Ooh. I feel like when I can't really like pick out a good number of them. Like winning the CXWI World Title for the first time was it's probably my favourite memory of CAW because I felt like the work I'd put in for the previous 2-3 years was recognised by that, and with the amount of people that were pulling for me to be world champion. Any time I make a debut, or I don't know, it's kind of hard because anything that happens, whether it be people liking my stuff or like if you change what you're saying here, or if you changed your tone when you were speaking about this or this, like everything's a memory because at the end of the day, yeah, I just want to have fun, and for me, like every match I'm in, every segment I'm in, I'm not like other people where I get really annoyed when I lose. I used to, but not anymore. I just take it on the chin and move on because it's something. At the end of the day, this is just something for me to do. When I get home from work, or if I'm bored at a weekend, I can just flip my laptop up, flip my phone up, record a promo, and it gets a reaction. So it's all about just having fun. And you just everything's a memory, really. I don't forget a lot.
Okay. Now, Blacko's also wants to know, any advice for promos?
Just take your time with them. Uh, I'm a bit different with my promos where I don't think a lot about them beforehand. I'll think of a few lines and then I'll just cut one. I'm a big fan of improvisation. I feel my best work comes from that instead of scripting stuff out. But if you're just getting into it, don't flip the camera right away and start recording because you'll freeze. Think of the point you want to get at the end of your promo. So if you're in a feud with someone, if your end goal is you're going to say you're going to beat them, so build up to that so that you have your beginning of your promo, you build it up, and you hit that peak point where you lay down the challenge to someone. I'm going to fight you on the next slam. But you've got to work on, there's a lot of things, like, the way you present yourself, where if you're a face, you're going to be smiling and happy more and talking more about making the audience happy. Whereas if you're a heel, you're going to be more, why do I have to face this guy? Fuck the fans. And just stuff like that. Just make sure that your character's direction fits with your promo. If you have to write stuff down, write stuff down. If you're like me and you just wing it because you are really good at winging stuff, which is a terrible idea, don't do that. I've talked myself out of, I've talked myself into and out of so many situations. I can't recommend it. Uh, it takes me back to something to like kind of go off a bit off course. But when I was in school, like my last few years, I slowly started to stop giving a fuck. Like I was only there because I had to be, and I just got really bored, and I didn't do much work, which is terrible. Don't do that. Stay in school and do a lot of work. But there was this one thing, as I was a really big history nerd, I still kind of am, where I was doing stuff about Nazi Germany. I got asked this question, and I was like, shit, I've got no idea what I'm going to say. So I took the plot of Captain America the Winter Soldier, which I'd watched the day before, swapped a few people around with some things in Germany that were happening, and I was just spilling this absolute shit. My mate that was sitting next to me was giving me a filthy look. By the time I finished saying this, sweating, red in the face, because I'm like, this is a load of shit. Teacher goes, that's a really good point. Started writing it all down. I'm just like, see, I could just talk my way out of stuff.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, not even the worst thing I've done. I still get people talk to me about this. The school I went to was specialised in languages. So when I was quite young, must have been 14, 15, I was studying like 3 languages, French, Spanish, and Mandarin, which was terrible in the long run. It fucked over my French, which was the only one I was interested in. And it came to Mandarin, and we had a speaking exam. And not a lot of people have heard my Mandarin, but it is atrocious, and I can't remember most of it. So I was like, this teacher don't really know me because I'm quiet in the corner. I bet I could fake a speech impediment and get a sympathy mark. There's 6 people in the room, 2 of which I speak to, and one of them keeps bringing it up to me. And I'm sitting there. I could add more than the speech impediment. I could start shaking, look really nervous, and I start doing that. And like halfway through, she stops and goes, "Are you all right? Are you okay to continue?" I'm just there going, "Yeah, I'm fine." And like at the end, she's like, "You've done really well. I'm really proud of you." Got like the 5th highest mark. And as I've walked out, I've just smirked to the people that are behind me. Half of them, not a fan, very pissed off. the two that knew I was doing it loved it, just laughing, and they came to me afterwards and like, "You fucked up my mark." I don't care, but that was genius.
Oh my god, that's evil genius right
I,
there.
you got to know your audience. You got to know how to manipulate them.
That's great.
Yeah.
See, it's interesting that for this interview, it was asked for advice for promos because I don't know if you heard, but that CAW Con thing got a
Yeah.
little bit of criticism. Because one was apparently because we didn't give enough advice to tell people how to cut promos, and I was like, because nobody asked. Like, you can't just be like, it's too late now. Why didn't you just go off and talk about it?
Didn't you answer my question I thought of in my head but never wrote down?
And then I find it funny, like, okay, all of us there, they act like, oh, those guys are so evil. They didn't tell us how to do promos, which we would have had it been asked. And also, where were those people when we needed help?
Exactly.
We watched the guys ahead of us and we got better.
It's all about learning. Everyone has a unique promo style. Watch, like, after you guys, you watch wrestling like all the time. I know it's a bit of a weird thing to say, but instead of just watching it for the enjoyment, just notice how they're talking. Notice how like the mannerisms change when the reaction needs to. Like I spent a lot of time when I was started out. Because I'm more of a guy that watches promos than wrestling. I'm a bit weird like that, and I would just watch like mannerisms. I'd watch how people react if they're face or heel. Like Chris Jericho, I cannot recommend watching his stuff enough because he is phenomenal. Watch how he changes year in year out. You got light up jacket Jericho, which is completely different, and he's changed it now to the Gift of Jericho, which I fucking love.
Oh my god, that's great. I love current Chris Jericho. He's amazing.
Like I stopped watching for a few weeks, and I started watching the SummerSlam 3 show, and it's like Tom Phillips like, "You're gonna get it, what it?" And I was like, "That's fucking genius."
It was that it thing is great. I was at the Barclays Center for Raw
Yeah.
on after SummerSlam, and when he did his backstage segment, they were like, the crowd was like, when they were hyping it up, we were all waiting. We're like, oh, and then when he goes, the crowd just pop.
I just like the fact that his insults aren't even like that well thought up. Just who thought that calling someone a stupid idiot would be just blow up as much as it has?
Everything he did, and just the little things, like the longest reigning Universal Champion. Oh my,
I love that.
Chris Jericho. It's a great guy to look and study from.
Definitely.
He clearly knows what he's doing. So, all right. So this gets asked quite a bit from people in call. Who and it varies. So
Yeah.
I'm sure yours is going to be much different than anyone else has said on the show before. But who's on your Mount Rushmore of call? So and they didn't say CXWI or COH, so I guess that just means anything you've watched.
Oh, that's a fucking hell. That's a really difficult one. I'm like right off the bat, I'm tempted to say me, just with different facial expressions, but I'm gonna exclude myself off of that. Not gonna start my ego trip just yet. I'm gonna say Scott McShannon, the guy that really helped me out when I first started going on, and I still talk to now. Who's a really good friend of mine. Uh, it's a difficult one, you know.
It's not easy because then you gotta exclude people.
Yeah, if we talking fantasy and original or just original?
They just said call. They didn't specify, so it's up to you.
I was always intrigued with what SCAW done with Spider-Man growing up. I feel like Spider-Man's one of the people that, like, it's weird to take a fantasy character, but, like, they've had longevity, so they can change Spider-Man over time. Like, one of the greatest things to look back on in, like, CAW, from, like, an owner's perspective, is to have a look at the history and have a look at how far things have come along. and to see the evolution of people that you might have started off in a mid card, and then like 2 years down the line they've won the world title, and you can take pride in the fact that you've helped build this person up. We've got Scott McShannon, Spider-Man. I'm going to put Austin on there because he's a really good friend of mine, and we do bounce off of each other quite a bit when it came to stuff. We did write quite a lot of stuff out for CXWI during our feud, which was really good and got some good reaction. And I'm going to throw in someone that, admittedly, they don't have a lot of time to cut promos and whatnot, but when my first original tag team partner of CXWI, Phil Mean, who's in COH now, and he's gone on to do quite a lot. He was there when I originally started going, and when I was the nervous kid that didn't really like being in front of a camera or was too shy, he helped me, point me in the right direction, like led stuff, talked to me about it, talked what we wanted to do with the team and that, and just helped me build from there to where I am now. So I'm going to put those 4 on there.
All right. Now, all right, here comes some interesting ones. Some people at home, and you yourself might be wondering, there's some questions that they're missing. People are wondering things, but it hasn't been asked yet. Don't worry, I saved them. Here comes some of the hard-hitting questions. Your tag team, AFN.
Yeah.
Everyone's a big fan of you and Austin, but it's no secret that for a very long time, Austin has been kind of MIA.
Yeah.
I've noticed recently he started like commenting on like the pages and whatnot again.
Yeah.
But when it came to promos, it was like, there's AFN, which is Ben Hopkins, and Austin's there too. So a lot of people, because I get asked this a lot, apparently I'm supposed to know, and but I also got asked this in questions. They're like, well, what's your thoughts on? I guess that Austin is. I'm gonna put it blunt. He's just not there, and that you've been there to carry the team.
First of all, I'm not going to disclose stuff, but I know Austin's got a lot personally going on as well, so it does restrict his time to cut promos and whatnot.
Right.
But we're always talking privately about stuff and where we want the team to go. And with me through my promos, like I said before, my main goal is to get the team over at the minute, which at the same point is getting me over, which I don't mind necessarily, because down the line, again, once we do split up, people are going to know who Ben Hopkins is. They're not going to so much know who Austin is. But at the same time, through my stuff and through the team, I'm also helping to somewhat build him up so that when he is able to cut these promos, when he is able to take the time, there is an already established ground of which he can build himself upon.
Okay, all right. And I know I've seen that Austin has clarified recently that, he's been going through some personal stuff. Yeah. Now, obviously, I'm like, all right, you go do you got to do what you got to do, which is why with some of the ways that some people phrase some of the questions, I tried to not say, some would be like, he's put in no work, which is not entirely true. Yeah. And they even got like, is he the Genetti of AFN? I mean, I think that's too early to tell, but
that all comes from the singles run. I would love it so that we, at the end, we both ended up with a good measure of single success, but that comes down to when we split up and when we're both going through our feuds with different people. It all depends on how an audience takes to our characters after we split up. So I do think it's too early to tell if there is a Marty Jannetty and if there is a Shawn Michaels. It might end up completely differently. We might end up like the example I like to use is Beer Money with James Storm and Bobby Roode. They split up, but they've both had great careers. They've both had a number of titles and success in there. So it is far too early to tell which one of us will be the more successful. If one of us is more successful, we might split up as AFN and it might completely bomb. But who knows? When we cross that bridge, we cross it.
Oh, yeah. So we shall see. Now, here's the next big one. All right. So the elephant in the room. Okay. So as everyone knows, a few months ago, maybe a little bit more than a few months ago, but there was a big drama in the CAW community. because something got revealed. So, as everyone who's watching this now knows, Lester Barkley, Sonny, whatever you want to call him, I call him piece of shit, but that's what I choose. He got exposed. I was one of the people, by the way, who exposed him for being the ass troll for last year and a half, right? That became public. He is no longer in COH, which originally in the beginning of COH, you and Austin had, I guess, kind of like an alliance with Sonny.
We were brought in as his teammates against the new movement, AJ Young, and then after that was when it all started.
Yeah. So it was huge, and obviously we know that because COH and other places that Sonny's had his call, he is no longer in. He has been, even places that didn't have him have removed him. He's just gone. He's even everyone who's involved in it, he has blocked. So he's clearly on his side as well. It's all shut off. Now, there was also a little bit of a drama a little bit later because it got told, information got brought to me that he was being used in other shows, and also in some shows was what happened to myself and others was used to subliminally forward storylines. One of those shows that still had him is CXWI. Now, I will clarify for their sake, that was not the show that was using it to further the storyline. However, CXWI, and I know it's hard for you to speak on their behalf because you're not Elliot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess speak for you or how you saw it or whatever, but from our side, it looks like CXWI did nothing. Never was like I've seen some shows who have, suspended him for a little while until things died down, and he's since come back. CXWI has not said anything about it. They have not taken action. He's continued to do everything and gone on, despite how personal he went and all the things that he did that almost got him in a lot of legal trouble. It's like nothing happened because CXWI was okay with it. What is your take on what happened there from your point of view?
I just want to start by saying this is a really difficult situation and question for me. So first of all, don't hate me. What he done, point blank, I can't defend. It was, I joined late on in the situation, so I don't know everything that went on. But I've heard it through the stuff, the Skype call that got recorded and that, and for me, it's a pretty low thing to do. Like I said, I can't defend it, but at the same time, I've seen what happens to people where everyone, like you go from one day, everyone's speaking to you and you think everything's normal, to the next day, bam. Like, I'm not saying that happens, but suddenly everyone, you're no longer speaking to anyone, and, well, I mean, like, he blocked you, but you're excluded, and I've seen what that's done to people. I don't really want to say this, but one of my friends, like, that happened to them, and they went down quite a dark path. So for me to actively turn my back on someone is quite difficult. I'm not a religious person. I couldn't be a religious person. I fucking hate it. But like, I can't turn my back on someone when everyone else has, because I would feel quite guilty about that, and I don't want people to go down the same path that my friends, I've seen them go down, because it is fucking horrible to know what people are doing know what they're doing. So I'm not defending these actions, but I do occasionally still speak to him. Like, just about his stuff in CXWI and that. But yeah, it is. I completely understand where everyone not wanting to have him in their CAW leagues, not wanting to speak to him comes in. But for me, I believe it comes down to everyone's personal thing, if they want to speak to him or not, and I do choose to.
Okay. All right. Do you think, in your opinion, that CXWI chose the right thing into just move forward as business as usual, or should they have taken the approach that other shows that took? And I'm not even saying as far as to release him or get rid of him, but taken some sort of action. Or if there was an action that was just not known.
As far as I know, there might have been discussions between Sonny and Elliot that I'm not aware of, but where I looked, there wasn't anything. There wasn't a punishment. Uh, I was in favour of having suspended for an indefinite period of time to eventually bring him back. But I can't speak for if Elliot had plans for him that he said to Sonny he's going to scrap now. Um, I don't know what's gone on behind closed doors that I'm not aware of, but it does seem to me like nothing did happen, which I did think should have. But it's, again, CXWI is Elliot's company. It's not down to me what happens with it.
Okay. And I just a couple more things, because I know this is a tough topic to talk about. Because you say the wrong thing, you upset everybody.
Exactly. I'm treading very carefully. Don't hate me.
And, so I've been told by people within the CXWI roster, and for their sakes, I'm going to keep them anonymous, who've told me how, because I'm not on the CXWI page.
Yeah.
So I obviously cannot see what is there.
Yeah.
But I've been told over the past few months, the attitude that I guess I don't know if the word was the higher ups, those who have Elliot and whoever else has any kind of influence, the attitude has been apparently, well, it didn't happen here, so it doesn't matter. And apparently that's been said in a message as well, not from you, but from somebody. I don't remember. From CXWI. I remember there was an instance when the Skype calls were released. Travis, he posted the Skype calls on the CXWI page.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to share it to let everyone know, hey, this is what's going on. And apparently, I've heard that the post was removed, and he was booted from the page.
I can confirm that did happen, yeah. That wasn't me. I was asleep when it was posted. You got to do what you've got to do in the end. What Travis posting the Skype call, he was looking out for his friends, which I completely understand why he done it. I was fine with it being up there. I've always been one for, if you're going to do something, you live with the consequences of your actions. So for me to see when I woke up the next day that Travis was blocked and removed from the base and that post was deleted, left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But as far as behind closed doors, I don't know if it's like people just, because it is a terrible thing that did happen, and it is a very difficult thing to talk about without alienating a lot of people. But I guess people just want to go on without thinking about it and what happened. But I don't know. It's because I'm not in CXWI at the minute. I'm on hiatus, so
Right.
What I get told is what's just happening in storylines, like hey, someone's going to win here and we're going to build up a feud. So I don't know, again, what's been said by the people higher up privately about if they just want to sweep it under the carpet. But I wouldn't say sweep it under the carpet as much, but I would say if he was suspended for it, then there wouldn't be as much of an uproar for people calling for him to be punished in CXWI that there is. But if it's been completely swept under the carpet, it's news to me. Again, if you're going to do something, you've got to live with the consequences of it. So yeah, it's really fucking difficult to say stuff because I don't want to alienate people because oh my god.
It's tough. I mean, a lot of this, because I understand for you, I'm putting you in a tough position because I'm asking you pretty much to be the voice of CXWI when it's hard when you're not really. You're just kind of there and you talk to the guys. Like, if one day I get to talk to like Elliot or somebody that would know more, I'm sure they can have a better, I don't know more. But like, I mean, I think this is just stating the obvious, but like, for them doing it, because essentially, whether I don't know if it was done on purpose or whoever was covering what up, it it looks like when WWE does those videos of when Roman Reigns gets booed out of the building, but when they do the videos and it makes him look like he's cheered. It only pisses people off, and they're like, "Oh, you really want us to like this, so we're not going to do it." But into a much higher degree, because say what you want about the sexual storylines and stuff the CXWI has done before. People in the past could be like, maybe that's just not for me.
Yeah.
Where now if I was in Elliot's position, like if I just ignored what happened to me, and I was in his position, it's a lot to bring in. Yeah. And I would just kind of want, even if I wanted to keep him and whatever, even if it was a suspension or whatever, but doing that, it only brings a black cloud around CXWI and Elliot and anyone else, and I know a lot of people absolutely refuse to watch or to acknowledge or go there or do anything with them because of this.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for that. Because we're not talking about a fictional storyline. This is something real that's happened to real people. And I don't know what Elliot's whole take on it is. Maybe he might have a different moral compass to me. Like, we're two different people from two different places. I've always, like I said, I've always grown up with you've got to live with the consequences of your actions, and fully, I don't believe Sonny has in CXWI, but at the same time, if you were to suddenly suspend him from there, it wouldn't help matters, because it would look like you've just been pressured into doing it and it's not off your own back. So it is a difficult thing for me personally to say, because I'm not the one that makes those decisions.
Right. I understand, and I understand the whole suspension thing. It could be like, oh, only because it's like the ESPN guy who issued the apology for what he said about Kevin Owens and his son. Yeah. When everyone knows, okay, great, you apologize, but it's because ESPN told you, oh, we're getting shit for this. We need you to apologize. He doesn't really mean it. So I get that, and I agree with you. Like, you live with your actions and everything. I just fear, because I understand, like, for when you said earlier about like Sonny, like, oh, that things happen and how dark paths people can go down. Yeah. I remember before he blocked me, I was going to talk to him, and I actually, if they listen to that call, I actually looked out for him despite all the stuff he did to me, and I didn't want to see him go to jail. And I just think if you want him to move forward and you want him to learn, being like, oh, it's okay, you're just not in COH anymore, he doesn't really learn anything.
Yeah.
But that is what it is. I had to rip the Band-Aid off there, because everyone wants to know, but we can get out of this uncomfortable territory now.
Jesus.
Look what you made me do, guys.
That is the most... God, that is one of the most difficult situations I've been put in for a while.
See, I usually don't mind putting like, if it was someone I didn't like, I'd be like, oh yeah, put them in an uncomfortable situation. See, I actually like you, so look what the fans made me do. Not
there is sweat.
So, all right, now let's talk about the future and where you're at. Because now, ever since you went to COH, and you got pretty popular, and a lot of people liked you. Yeah. You kind of, other people have wanted you in their shows. I know I have you in AWF with Austin as well, and and I think you've talked with Adam for his New Dawn show,
Yep.
and he's just, and I know other people who I've talked to, and they're like, oh, I want to get Ben Hopkins and everything. I mean, so what is your what is your take on that? Are you wanting to be in more shows now, or are you at a limit? What are you thinking about all these other shows?
The reaction I've had since I joined COH is something that I didn't expect to happen. I was hoping for a positive response, but the fact that so many people want me on their shows, it's a great feeling. Um, I've always been one, again, to use the British wrestling example, like El Ligero. There's
Mhm.
a there's a story of him and Mark Andrews from TNA. They had two matches. They were one side of the country in the morning, or like midday-ish. They were the first match on the card because they had to go up to, I think, like Wales or somewhere to wrestle against each other in the main event. And so they have their match. They finish they get in their car getting ready, and they're blocked in the car park. So the second match finishes, and over the tannoy would like, could the owner of so and so car come out and please move it? You've blocked some people in, and they've gone out, and it's just Mark Andrews and El Ligero sitting in this car, just waiting for him to move. So I'm fine with working at as many shows as possible because that's what happens with the wrestlers over here. I admittedly I don't have as much time as I used to promo, but I will happily record in bulk. The other day I spent about 20 minutes recording 4 promos back to back to back, which I'm perfectly fine with. If people are interested in the Ben Hopkins character and the Ben Hopkins brand, and they feel it can add something to their show, just message me. The worst thing I can say is I'm really busy. Sorry, I won't be able to put as much effort in, or I'll be happy to join in. Like, just ask me. I'm an approachable guy.
All right, all right. So that kind of ties into this. Do you prefer like? 'Cause I guess some people, when it comes to asking people to be in their show, some people don't know how to do it because
Yeah.
they're like, do you want guys to like? Do you prefer if like like an owner of a show is like, hey, can I can you join my show, or do you like it to look into your own and go and like, oh, I want to join there, or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter to me. I do a bit of both. Like, if I know someone's interested in bringing me in, I'll look up at their league and see if it's not a startup, I'll have a look, see if it's something that interests me. Like 9 times out of 10 it is, because I am a really big fan of acting, and like I don't get to do that anymore.
Hmm.
So for me, this is as close to it as I can get. So I'm going to do as much as it as humanly possible because I love giving people a show. I love the entertainment factor that I bring. If people enjoy the entertainment I bring and they want me in their show, just it's as simple as like just message me going, "Hi, do you want to be on my show?" And if you have a show, just send me a link to your YouTube channel. I'll have a look, see who's on your roster, and then I'll say yeah, because each league gives me a little bit of leeway to expand or change a bit of the Hopkins character, so that it's something a little different, so that I bring something different. And if you want me to cut promos, I'll cut them as soon as humanly possible. If you want me to lose to people, just you don't even have to tell me because I'm not gonna be like, fucking jobber now, ain't I? I've lost one match. Oh, that's it. Ben Hopkins buried one match in. I'm not that type of guy. Um, if you just keep me clued up, if there's some storyline developments coming up, if you're like, hey, gonna have you face him, and at the end you're gonna win, and he's gonna attack you, and blah blah blah, just stuff like that. Just I like people that keep me updated in what they're doing with me, because at the end of the day, it is my name, and I don't want a CXWI situation where I mean it hasn't happened to me. That I open a video and I'm getting fucked by a Pokemon. I don't want that to happen. Freak out, and it is not funny when I freak out because I do get really angry. Actually, no, that is quite funny. It depends what side you're on, because some people think it's really funny when I get mad.
Well, for your sake, I hope that doesn't happen to you.
Yeah, so do I.
Um, last question, and then a couple names for word association, and we'll wrap things up. Who are you looking forward to fighting? I guess that would be in any promotion that you're in, but like if there's one guy that you're like, I want to have a program with such and such.
Uh, there's so many. I mean, I spoke to Ray when we had a little promo at the start of one of the slams, and we were talking about that, like, because Ray writes out a brief description of what he's going to say, so that I could respond to it, and we had. I feel like we had good chemistry when it came to that, and that's definitely something down the line I would look forward to working with. Caleb Blair's another one. I mean, the answer is Ben. The answer is basically Ben. So, like, when there's not a lot of people that I wouldn't want to face, but at the top of my list, I've had one match with him off the top of my head, and he's someone that I've spoken to for a long time about wanting to work a program with, and that is Brandon Wolf.
Oh.
I mean, I've known Brandon Wolf for a good number of years now, and we've never had a chance to have a feud because when he started in CXWI, I had just won Money in the Bank, so I was at the top of the card. He was just starting off, and now he's building up there. I'm not there. In COH, he's on the Battleground roster. He's doing incredible for himself. And for me, I'm in the tag team division on Slam, so it's never really been compatible for us to have a feud. But if the opportunity ever comes, I would definitely want to face Brandon Wolf. And so another one on that list that's definitely up the top is John Blackos.
Oh wow!
Who's another one of my close friends. I've worked with him for quite a while. When I first met John, he was just starting off. He just wanted some advice, and I was like, no, just come to me anytime you want some advice, or if you've got a promo that you don't want to put up yet because you're not sure about it, let me watch it, and like I'll happily critique it because none of us are perfect. I always lived on the fact that you need criticism to evolve and continue. So, like, and that extends to like pretty much everyone. I would gladly take some time out to help people if they want to come to me for help. I'm not the best, but I will help you if that's what you want. But like, I do need stuff to watch because I do get to work really early, and I'm just sitting around. So if you want to send me a promo to kill some time, I would be happy to watch it.
All right. Now, interesting that you did say earlier, Wolf, because you and Wolf, like from that CAW Con, the two most over people.
Yeah.
There are some people that were upset. They're like, you didn't mention me, and they're like, oh, that means I'm not doing good. I'm like, no, that's not what it means. They're just those are the names that stuck out. You just
You
people.
shouldn't be upset about that. Like, the fact that me and Brandon are being mentioned is a testament to our work that we've put in. If you're upset that people aren't mentioning you, make them mention you. Stand out. Like, it was like what they said. It was like make me relevant. It's like make yourself relevant. Make the promos that make me want to take the time to watch them. Give me something that's interesting to me to want to watch you in any CAW league. I'm not. No one's gonna just randomly be like, "Oh, he's cutting average promos," but oh, the guy's fucking amazing. No, you've got to put the work in and join a tag team for fuck's sake. It will help you.
All right, and then we'll quickly here wrap things up with a word association. I'll mention a couple names. Don't worry, it won't be long. And just a word, a sentence, whatever. Just quickly, what do you think of them? Good or bad? Elliot.
Uh, Depends on the day.
All right. Austin.
He's one of my closest friends.
Travis Sparks.
Underrated in terms of as a performer and as a booker and an owner of a show, because I'll be the first to admit I couldn't run a CAW show. I don't have the patience to work with so many people, and that goes to like you as well, and everyone that has like wants people to record stuff and send it in, because I imagine that's not easy to get everyone on. So for like people like you and Travis to have the patience and the testament to work with so many people and to at the end of the day put out a quality product that I can enjoy watching is is something that I don't think a lot of people do get credit for in the end. Most people are talking about the guys that cut the promos and how their place on the card is, but without the owners and the people working behind the scenes, you wouldn't get the Ben Hopkins promos. You wouldn't get Ray Getty's at the top of COH, because you have to have the people backstage that don't get the credit to make sure the people on screen do.
Absolutely. The Patriot.
Oh, I love the Patriot. He's such a Steve. He's so creative with what he does. With I mean Zane.
GMR cracked the code. It's Zane.
It's got to be Zane. It's like the M accuracy character in the Patriot, like different, but at the same time, you've got to watch both. I love them. They are so good. I can't say enough positive about them.
Oh, they're great. He's very good at what he does.
Definitely. Another person I would love to work with down the line. I feel like the Patriot wouldn't like this young English fella.
Maybe not. Maybe not. What about Brandon Wolf?
Finally getting the credit he deserves.
I agree. And let's throw one last name in there. Just an interesting name. Scott Adams.
Oh. First of all, Scott, I will get to that British tag team eventually. Hey, it will happen, don't worry. But I'm thankful for Scott for taking the time to do that Who is Ben Hopkins promo, because that helped elevate me in the sense that people started talking about me, and it just really helped me catapult myself to a wider audience.
All right. Well said. Well, thank you, Ben, for coming on the show.
It's all right.
I think this was a good time, and I think people got to know Ben Hopkins a little bit more. Maybe they won't be asking who is Ben Hopkins anymore.
They shouldn't be.
Again, thank you for coming on, and wish you the best of luck for what's to come in CAW Wrestling.
Who knows? Down the road, I might be beating you.
You might be beating me. Maybe we shall see.
We shall.